Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be going over the quote-unquote top 5 methods of recovery. I'm going to be watching this guy's video explaining whether I agree or disagree with uh, if he's right or wrong on the top 5 best methods for recovery for an athlete. I haven't watched this video yet, so we're going to be watching this video together and going over and seeing what this guy has to say. See if you guys agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you agree with him or disagree with him. We're gonna find out soon. So let's get into the video.
So here we are, guys, and we're going to be going over this video trying to see what are the top 5 methods of recovery.
I'm going to give you the top 5 methods that you can use to improve your recovery as an athlete, and we're going to start right
for all you athletes
now.
out there. I love these intros. All of these channels have some crazy intros.
We went over that overtraining syndrome and what athletes deal with when they feel overtrained, and there's a lot of different types of recovery.
This goes with my last video and the video before that.
As an athlete, and even when we're thinking about recovering as a fitness enthusiast. So there's the physical adaptation, right? There's a lot of stress that you put your body under. You might be doing, assault bike work. You might be lifting heavy, you might be doing hypertrophy work. All these things will lead to that physical adaptation. So we have to.
If you guys didn't watch my last video, it's about getting motivated for training and how
we might have some joints
push yourself. And the video before that was all about overtraining.
Joints that might have previous issues that have scar tissue built up that we have to improve upon. So we have to factor in mobility. Then that takes us into that mental aspect. Athletes especially are dealing with mundane training. They're doing the same thing over and over and over again. There's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of different things that they have to balance. And especially if you're not in a high profile sport, you really have to balance things like external stress in life and how to handle training as a world-class athlete or even as an athlete just coming up through the ranks in high school. And then that takes us into the nutritional aspect. If we think about recovering nutritionally and how nutrition has a positive impact on joint integrity, on our mental outlook on life, on our mobility in general, now we can start to weigh the fact that nutritional aspects can really impact multiple different spheres of recovery, and that's essentially where we need to go with all these methods. But we're going to give you those top 5 methods that you can use to improve your overall recovery. That first key tip is going to be
took a while to get to that first method.
10 to 20 minutes
of yoga.
5 times
I don't know about that, but it's stretching.
Heads out there groaning and
yoga is
and thinking about turning into a patchouli-smelling hipster granola-eating lover. We have to embrace yoga. If you're a big dude, you need yoga the most, and there's a couple different reasons why.
I would say yoga
specifically. It drastically improves our mobility, and when our mobility improves, now we can lengthen the muscle belly, and in turn, lengthening is strengthening. So
very true. I always say that. You lengthen the muscle belly
in deeper ranges of motion,
makes you stronger.
To greater sports performance. Another key concept, it helps us be a little bit more in touch with how we're feeling in certain positions.
And growing the width of the muscle, we're growing the length of the muscle.
Now we can start to mobilize a little bit.
It also leads to more space on the muscle belly for more muscle development, width-wise.
About the mental aspect, right?
It's very important to train like that.
Overtraining syndrome. Almost all of the overtraining syndrome relates back to mental focus and mental adaptation. What yoga does is it forces you to disconnect from the digital world, and it forces you to embrace internally who you are, and you start to have that self-reflection time, and it enables
I'd say meditation that could work instead of
use yoga 4 to 5 days
that. It's probably better to meditate and then just do stretching separately. I do 5 minutes of meditation and then 15 minutes of stretching.
And
yoga try to do it around the
takes
same
us
amount
into
of
that
time.
second key aspect of recovery, and that's going to be meditation or quiet
Perfect.
sitting.
This is what I was talking about.
Prayer. So if you're religious,
meditation.
It's going to be prayer. If you're more focused on a specific type of philosophy or spiritual awakening, meditation. If you're more focused on just general disconnection, call it quiet sitting. Call it whatever you want, but separate yourself. Sit quietly.
Meditating.
Try to hollow out your mind. Now, a lot of you might be thinking about the Dalai Lama sitting crisscross, chanting, and having incense smoking all over the room. And if you want to do that, go ahead. If you don't want to do that, I recommend finding a place that you can turn the lights off, you can block out all external noise. You turn off all of your electronics, your cell phone, your TV.
I recommend this more than the yoga for self-reflection.
30 minutes. It's way harder than people actually think. The first 10 to 15 minutes, your thoughts are going to be bouncing all over the place. And then as you gain control and you have that specific intent, now you start to control your cognitive function, you start to control your cognitive ability, and you can really quiet those thoughts. So some people really like to meditate prior to training. Maybe
either in the morning or right before going to bed, but I recommend right before going to bed. I like to meditate with a meditation tape.
Others might like to
recording of things that I want to do
even during their workout. They might like
with
to
music behind so I can remember the things. Really internalize the goals that I'm trying to strive for, trying to get better at.
4 to 5 days a week, 30 minutes, it's going to drastically improve your mental adaptation. That third key tip to improve your recovery is simple. It's called sleep. Please get to bed. This is another classic. We've got some of the best athletes in the world.
Very true.
Hey, how'd you sleep? That's okay. And then I hear them talking about doing the new group game where they drop into these certain areas. Why can I not think of the name right now? That video game. But they're playing till 1, 2 in the morning, and then they have to wake up at 7:30 to go to work, and then they're exhausted. Okay, this is reality. This is what a lot of people are dealing with. Prioritize your sleep. Okay, if you are someone who maybe you do meditate before bed, what you can do is an hour out from bed, that's when you flip the switch. Literally, that's when you're trying to quiet your brain. So maybe you spend 30 minutes of meditation, and if you're religious, you meditate for 30 minutes, and then you do 10 minutes of prayer, and then you're unwinding and you're preparing for bed. You're getting ready to go to bed. Your bedroom should be about 65 degrees. You've already brushed your teeth.
Very true. You want it to be colder. Helps you go to sleep better.
Curtains. And ideally, you don't have any electronics near your bed except for your cell phone on the other side of the room, and that might be your alarm clock. Now, one big key that a lot of us are missing regarding sleep hygiene is that we're not seeing sunlight earlier in the day. I recommend around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, you get outside and you see the sun for 30 minutes. That's going to help set your circadian rhythm.
Very true.
Turn, your sleep's going to be better.
Andrew Huberman goes over this too.
Circadian
rhythm is your sleep cycle. So it'll give you energy throughout the day and then it'll cause your energy to dip at night. So it's easier for you to sleep at night.
15 to 30 minutes of a nap, and that's going to dramatically improve your overall recovery.
Yeah.
That fourth key tip is based around the fact that you have access to this tool. That tool is going to be a sauna. I recommend
if you're trying to go for a nap, get a little bit more time so you can get deep sleep.
Far infrared or near infrared, depending on what you believe is best. I think traditional is just fine. And I think most of the research out there is going to show you, if you do the sauna for 4 to 5 days a week, at 170 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 30 minutes each time that you go in there, you're going to notice a drastic improvement in your recovery and your overall well-being.
Very true.
Now, this is because it stimulates something called heat shock proteins. It's going to enhance our sensitivity to heat.
100% sure. That is true. It will enhance your sensitivity.
Mitochondrial volume. Okay, so if we can see
might
the
be
volume
true
of mitochondria increase, then as we start to improve our endurance, then we can start to use sprint interval training to enhance our mitochondrial respiration.
Mitochondrial volume pretty much just determines how good you or healthy you are in general. What mitochondria you have in your cells, the better you are.
Put your cell phone somewhere else.
A certain number, the average person is about 1,500 mitochondria. If you're an elite athlete, you can get all the way up to 4,000 mitochondria.
Use this to improve your ability to quiet sit or to meditate, and it's going to lead to not only physical recovery, but also that mental recovery.
Very true.
Now, that fifth key concept is something that a lot of coaches take for granted, and they believe that their athletes are doing everything that they should be doing, but in reality, they're not. This is going to be nutritional improvement. What I want to do is provide basic guidelines for nutrition. So what's some basic guidelines?
Don't eat raw meats.
Understand macros, carbs,
very
fats,
true. Can understand what they are.
And protein. Okay, so what we want to look at then is we want to try to get
carbs,
1
increase
gram
glycogen,
of
glucose.
per pound of body weight.
Protein is probably the most important for building muscle.
From animal-based protein. You can use supplements
fats,
like whey protein.
Pretty
These
good. In general, they give you fat-soluble vitamins. Besides trans fats in general aren't good.
fair amount of carbohydrates.
The best types of trans fats are the ones that come from game meat. I can't remember the name of it right now. Special type of trans fats that you don't have.
Muscle mass. You're going to feel better with digestion. And typically,
those are the only natural occurring trans fats. Anything that's processed that has trans fats, don't eat it. General, just try not to eat trans fats.
1.5 grams of
Typically the bad
to
type
2
of
grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight. This is a good
also
baseline, and then factor in if you have to cut for a
that's
weight
pretty
class,
hard to get to.
Make sure that you're not overeating, because you could lead to
overeating.
Excess mass.
Can eat a lot of fruit for that.
Make that weight class. So just make sure you're prioritizing your actual nutritional improvemements. Focus
you have
on
to
the
buy a lot of
protein,
apples to
focus
get
on the
that.
carbohydrates. Make sure the
Apples and
carbohydrate
bananas.
source is flourishing. It's filled with microbiota accessible carbohydrates, and that's going to improve your overall recovery. So we discussed the types of adaptation that we need to the stimulus provided by training, right? We went over the fact that we need to enhance our nutrition. We went over the fact that we need to improve our joint integrity, and we need to improve our mental state of well-being. We provided some nutritional baseline things that you can use. We went through all of those key factors.
Yeah. So this is pretty much the end of the video, guys. The rest of it is just going to be like an add-on on some of this stuff. I recommend, if you guys want, you guys can go watch this guy. Great video. I like it. The yoga is the one out of all of them that I feel is like the least important. I just think I can replace it with regular stretching. It doesn't have to be specifically yoga. 30 minutes I recommend of meditation if you can get it. If try to only get it, can get it both in the morning and the afternoon, that'd be good. But if you can only get it once per day, or even if you can't get the full 30 minutes, I'd say at least 15 minutes of meditation is key before you go to sleep. Getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep is difficult, but you guys gotta push for it, try your best, and if you can't reach it, try to get that extra little bit of sleep in the middle of the day. Quick power naps help out. Try not to just take 30-minute naps since you don't get into deep sleep. Try to get a little bit more than that. Remember, we sleep in 90-minute cycles, so if you could get a power nap, it's an hour and a half exactly. That'd be the best type of power nap you could possibly get. Sauna 4 to 5 days, 20 to 30 minutes is very difficult for most people. But if just in general, take warmer showers, I guess. That will imitate the effects of a sauna for the most part. Nutritional improvement: 1 gram of protein per pound. Yeah, 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. Highly recommend 1.5 carbs to 2 carbs per pound of body weight. I recommend 2, but it's kind of difficult since carbs typically have a lot of calories. But try your best. So yeah, and in worst case scenario, if you can't get the carbs, what they do is that they fill your blood with glycogen, which then turns to glucose, which you store for energy. But your body can do glucosis or whatever, where just with protein and fats, you'll be able to make glycogen through glucosis, and it'll take a little longer. Take about 24 to 48 hours to fill up your glycogen stores that way. But you can do it naturally without any carbs. People have survived without any carbs. You won't die if you don't eat carbs. But I would recommend eating carbs since they fill up your glycogen stores a lot quicker. So try to add a few carbs in there. And if you can, do what he says, 1.5 grams to 2 grams. If you can do it, will maintain your body weight. But you have to be pretty big to eat all those fruits and get your protein in. So it'll be kind of hard. But you guys can do it if you really dial in on your diet. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys want to see next. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.